So again, thank you for joining us for another session of PEBB Benefits 2407 online enrollment system. This is session number 4, and we thank you for attending today's webinar for state agency and higher education institution employers. So all attendees are muted. Please do not unmute yourself even if the program allows you to, and we apologize in advance that we will not be able to assist you with any technical issues. Just keep in mind that this webinar will be recorded and posted on the Benefit Administrator's webpage. So if you do need closed captioning, it is available, and all you have to do is just click on the CC icon at the bottom of your screen and select Enable Subtitles. So we asked if you have questions, please submit those questions through the question feature, and those questions should be related to session 4, transferring an employee from one PEBB employer to another PEBB employer, also terminating or ending subscribers' eligibility, or rehiring / restoring a subscriber's eligibility. And for any questions or scenarios related to specific employees, we ask that you submit those through HCA support requests. And urgent matters, please pick up the phone and contact our customer service representative with outreach and training at 1-800-700-1555. A few notes I want to put out that the launch date has been pushed back to June 12th. So if you didn't get the Gov delivery, just letting you know that, and to make sure to sign up for Gov delivery so you don't miss any updates or reminders about the PEBB program. Also, the transfer video is now back up on the BA website. We got word that it went down, so it is back up for your viewing. Also, as a disclaimer, that all the members that were, again, we are in the training environment, so all the members that we're making up in this training environment are all fictional members. They're not real life members that are out there. So just want to put that out there to everyone. And we will try to answer as many questions. Just keep in mind, we're 40 days out from the launch date, and our developers are still working hard to make this system the best system it can be come June 12th. So there may be some questions we won't be able to answer, but we will take those back to our developers to make sure that it is resolved prior to June 12th. So again, welcome. Subject to your questions, we are here, and then we're going to give you a quick demo after if you have any questions. So go ahead and submit your questions if you have anything. And my name is Rob Blyden. I'm a benefit marketing rep with the Healthcare Authority. I'm joined by my great co-workers, Mr. Larry Cade and Debbie Crumples. So we three are here to try to help you understand or answer some of your questions that you may have. Hope everyone had the chance to go through the training videos on the BA website. All right, doesn't look like we have any questions. I know you all been in the Benefits 24/7 training environment, playing around, trying to manipulate, testing the system just like us. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and do a quick demo of those 3 tasks that are involved in session 4. And if you have questions during that, just go ahead and submit those questions. All right, Deb, if you could share your screen, I'll stop sharing mine.
Okay, Rob, thank you.
You are welcome.
Okay, so I don't know on whose end, your guys' or mine, that my stuff keeps fading in and out. So if something happens to my internet or something, if it's mine, just be aware. I'll do everything I can to get back as quickly as I can. Okay, so the 3 topics, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to cover the terminating a PEBB covered employees coverage, and also ending their eligibility, right? So I will also then go on to the rehiring and restoring people, and then I'll come back to the transfer one at the very end. So the first scenario is going to be an employee who works for the Department of Ecology, who is going to end their employment, therefore lose their PEBB coverage. So I will go into Manage Subscribers, and I'm going to look this employee up, and bear with me because I use all these like Elvis Presley. So it looks like somebody else used him too, but this time I gave him a different social security number. So we're going to use this one. We'll go ahead and manage him. Okay, so in order to terminate his coverage, we go under the eligibility tab. And if you come down the screen a little bit, this is where that box is where you can terminate or transfer a subscriber. And in this situation, if I click on this drop-down box, here's all of the options that you can end eligibility for a subscriber who is currently covered by PEBB insurance. So in this instance, I'm going to say that this employee's ending their employment, and the termination effective date is going to be their last day worked. Okay, so I'm going to say that this employee's last day worked was March 15th, 2023. And when I click on the submit changes, it's just going to ask me, are you sure that you want this to be the term date? So when I click on it again, it's going to go ahead and show us that the benefit ending date is going to be 3/31. And we know that depending on the employee's last day worked, that it's going to be cut away for you to make sure that that looks right. And then there was that message that came up that was green. You could it popped away already, but you just want to make sure that that comes up showing that this was saved and that the system recognizes that. So that's how you term somebody's insurance that's leaving your employment. We'll come back to now. I'm going to, before I go on with the next one though, are there any questions on that? Just terming somebody's coverage because they're leaving employment. Okay, I don't see any questions. So the next one is going to be removing eligibility for somebody who is your employee, but who is losing eligibility for, there are a variety of reasons that can happen. So the person that I'm going to do this with is also working for Department of Ecology. And I am going to say this is Oprah Winfrey. I'm going to go ahead and click on her and I'm going to manage her. And under her eligibility tab, when you come down the screen a little bit, her terminate or transfer reason is going to be, if I click on the box, there we go. We're going to say she's going out on approved leave without pay, which means that this is going to end her eligibility. She's going to still be an employee for the Department of Ecology, just losing eligibility. Again, the termination effective date is what was her last day working before this approved LWOP goes into place. So I'm going to say the same thing. March the 15th, 2023. Go ahead and submit the change. I know that this is correct. I'm going to go ahead and submit this. And again, the benefit end date is 3/31. There's that green message saying that this subscriber has been successfully updated. So that's how you put somebody on not eligible for benefits, right? So does anybody have any questions about that part?
Hey, Deb,
before I go
on? Hey, Deb, yeah. Can you read out those two paragraphs down there next to the termination box, which are really important?
Okay. So the first one just says, are you sure you want to terminate this person, right? Because if this member is the primary subscriber on the account, then their dependents coverage is going to be terminated as well. So I'm sorry I didn't bring that up. And over here, it's just saying if this subscriber or their account was terminated in error and it needs to be re-enrolled without a break in benefits, then adding this subscriber again using an eligibility date that's the first of the month following the benefit end date will get them back in. So I know that that comment is a little bit confusing until I get to this next part of the demonstration, but that is how you, if you accidentally termed somebody and you didn't mean to, and you want to get them back in the system as active again, you would just have to add them. And I will be showing you kind of that now. Okay. If there are no questions, then I'm going to go back and now we are going to rehire and restore, right? So I'm going to go back to Elvis Presley again. And okay, so a couple of things I want to say first. This employee has been terminated, right? So they're going to be rehired either by the Department of Ecology, or they could be rehired by any PEBB covered employer. And they would, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so lots of times people will come back to you, your employer, or they'll just be rehired to a PEBB covered employer elsewhere. So just know it doesn't matter. And let's say in this instance, as the benefits administrator, when you get this new hire paperwork, you don't really know that they have worked for you before, or they've worked for any PEB covered employer before. It won't really be important. We're just going to kind of show you how this works, but just know, when you have a new employee, you just add them, right, as a new subscriber. So that is exactly what you're going to be doing again to get this employee back into benefits 24/7. So I need to go find him first. Bear with me here for a second because I forgot to get this. It's this one right here. I need his social security number for demonstration purposes. I need to go copy that because you guys know that now, in order to get him back in the system, I have to do an add, a new subscriber. So I'm going to add him. And again, as the BA, I don't know where he worked before, even that he worked here. So we'll go ahead and give the social security number. And I'm going to say we're hiring him today and his eligibility begins today. So I'll click on next and then next again. And then here's the message that you're going to get, that this record can be re-enrolled. So basically it's showing me that, yes, this is Elvis Presley. That's his social security number. And this message just indicates to me as the BA that this person has been enrolled in PEB benefits before. And the fact that it can be re-enrolled just means that it's available, right? They're not currently covered. So we'll go ahead and just click on the claim to get this employee's information. So what happens when it's been a terminated employee? So if you have a system like HRMS or CTC where you're inputting your new employees into that system first and you're updating that information, when you come out and claim this employee, that current data is going to come over and it's going to populate a lot of this information, right? So, but if it's from another employer, say it's from maybe Thurston County, who is medical only with us, well, they don't have a system that feeds their data in. So what's going to come over is the information that was already attached to this employee. And really, it doesn't matter how it comes over, right? Whether it comes over from a feed or that type of employer, you're going to just want to make sure that everything on this subscribers page is current according to them working for your agency. So, it's going to bring over the employee's name, their social security number, their birth date, their gender identity. Down here, always going to be newly eligible, right? Because they're a rehire. Now they're newly eligible. It's saying 5/3 was the eligibility date, and now that coverage date is 6/1, and you know that that is correct. No, this person does not have representation. Yes, they are eligible for the long-term disability. And based on how the information comes over from your files or not, or if this was a salary potentially that came over from somebody else like Thurston County or something, you just want to make sure it's accurate for your agency, right? And then if you're somebody who has to have that salary in there, whether or not you use the benefits 24/7 for your LTD or not, you'll know based on the previous training we did there. And then we're going to make the hire date for this agency. So I'm going to make it for today. And again, that hire date does not drive anything. It's really up to you if you want to maintain that or not. The address is fine. And I don't think it lets you, and this is something that I wanted to try. Oh, it does. Well, it does let you update the address, it looks like. And this came up in a previous training.
Yeah, I remember the state agencies and higher ed, it will not let you do it. It'll be grayed out.
Well, but Larry, this is a state agency.
This is also the test environment.
That's true.
They do not want to update it through here. They do not.
Right. And because I can't see the live environment, if this is allowed in the live environment, like Larry said, that will be something we hope is not. And that you do need to be updating it in HRMS or your own, if you have a feed, right? If your data feeds over to benefits 24/7, that's where you update your address stuff because it's going to come over here. So, because if you only do it here, when that stuff comes over, it's going to write over the top of this. So hopefully, like we said, that won't be this way in the live environment. And that will be something that we'll look at. Okay, and I'm just going to leave this as the same mailing address and go ahead and click on submit. Okay, So now that I have gone ahead and brought him in, I'm going to go ahead and manage him again, just so that you as the employer can see that this newly eligible wizard is now coming up so that your employee can go out and have that 31 days to do their enrollment, right? To make their choices, and they can add dependents or they can choose new plans from whatever they had before. It will not matter, because remember, there's a break in service that allows them to have this newly eligible wizard. So does anybody have any questions on that when you are rehiring someone?
We do have one question, Deb. So Beverly's asking, what will it look like when we try to enroll or transfer an employee who is still locked by another agency, self-pay or retiree coverage? Will we be able to see the agency they are still active with? And I don't think, Beverly, you'll be able to see that agency. What you can do is go to the reports and you'll have that benefit administrator contact list, contact the agency and tell them, hey, this person needs to be termed before we can pick them up. Or you could submit a HCA support ticket. Any other on top of that, Larry?
No, I think when we tried to add somebody before, remember Deb had the person's employer there and asked you to contact that benefit administrator.
So we did test that. And so if you're trying to enroll, or we'll get to the transfer here in a minute, but and somebody over there has not like released, it would only happen, right, if they're termed, that's not going to be a problem because they kind of have been released, they're not locked. But if they're in a transfer situation, and that other you want to add them, but the other employee still has them, the other employer still has them active, what's going to happen is it's going to tell you, hi, you can't take this employee because they're already active in the system, and here is the employer that you need to contact. So it'll give you where they work, but it won't give you like the BA's name. But like Rob said, under the reports tile, there is going to be a report there where you're going to be able to run the statewide BA list, and then you'll be able to look at that list for that employer, and you'll be able to find that email. So that'll be kind of nice. As far as self-pay or retiree, so the self-pay, I was trying that because, we have people who might go on continuation coverage, like the COBRA continuation, if say they're out for some kind of period of time and they want to go ahead and do that. And what happens is those are like, they're on HCA manages all their stuff, right? So when I try to like bring them back and add them again and give them eligibility, the system is really slick. It says, hey, you can't do that because they're also active somewhere else. And they give you the phone number, or they tell you to call us because we have to release them and make sure that they're not doing the COBRA thing anymore, so you can actively add them. So it's kind of nice for us too, because sometimes employees may not let us know that they're going to be going back to another agency or something and they don't need their COBRA anymore, right? So we kind of work together that way. So yeah, that's a really great question. As far as retiree, I don't know how that works yet. I guess we'll have to answer that one later when we get to that. That has not been our area.
It's the same. So whether it's a self-pay or COBRA or retirees, you have to ask HCA to release them. So either through an HCA ticket or call them.
Okay.
It's no different today, but they're pay ones, it's the same way.
Okay, Jean, just an overall comment observation. It's not intuitive that the user needs to click the green button that says newly eligible. True, you're right. And that has been something that has been brought to the developers' attention for some language potentially being added to the subscribers dashboard. Thank you. Beverly, will it still not allow us to pick them up until the calendar date has occurred in real time?
So right now on pay one, right? So say it's 5/3 and the change is effective 5/31. You have to wait till 6/1 to pick them up.
Oh, well, that's
you can't
not
really
the
pick
case.
them up until 6th day.
Yeah,
that's what she's asking.
See. Yeah, you'll see when I do the transfer. Okay, that you can do it in real time. You don't have to wait, which is I guess that's kind of a plus then, right? Okay. Let's see. So which one did I just do? Elvis. So I guess I'll go to Oprah, and I'm gonna Yes, it's a plus. Good. Yay. Something really good. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and we'll go pick up Oprah. And let's say we're going to manage her. And she's Department of Ecology's employee. She's on that approved leave without pay, remember? And she's still Department of Ecology's employee. So in order to restore her eligibility under the eligibility tab, there's no way to come into the system and just say, hey, we're going to like click on this and change all this. You can't. It just doesn't allow you to change any of that. So again, I'm going to get her social security number. And the only way to get her back into the system with eligibility is to go ahead and add her as a new subscriber. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and tell the system that this is her social security number. And again, I'll make today her date of eligibility. She's regaining that eligibility. And it's basically saying, hey, the system also found that this employee can be re-enrolled because remember, her coverage ended 3/31. So she's gone with that break in coverage and she can just be given eligibility again. So as long as it's this employee, that's the correct social security number, you can go ahead and claim the employee. So when it's your employee and you're going back in and claiming them, just remember all this data is going to be either from the screen that you guys had previously for this employee, the data, or if it's a feed, is still coming over for anything that you've updated in your system if there were any changes. So like say the employee was out for a year, their salary had increased or something, that's all going to be updated in your system and it's always going to feed over here. So that would be here. Again, the bigger message is please just make sure that this data is accurate for the date that they are coming back to their eligibility. So the name is correct, social is correct, birthday, gender ID. On this one, this is where it's going to be a little bit different. This is just going to be a return to work from leave without pay. And here's the other ones too, like if they're coming back from a layoff or they're a faculty or seasonal employee, right? You're just going to be returning them. So on this one, I'm going to say returning from leave without pay. So this is really cool. The date of eligibility is 5/3, right? So the system knows the coverage effective date is 5/1 because you guys know how the rules work. Any day that whatever day in the month that they come back, it's always effective, coverage effective the first of the month that they come back in. And so because they returned in May, they're going to get coverage back to the 1st of May. So these are things that you just really want to make sure are accurate, right? So if this isn't right, then you might think, ooh, I might not have put this in right, and I need to go back out. And if that ends up being the case, all you have to do here is cancel and it will take you back, right? You can start over on that. So you don't want to, these are really important things to look at before you go ahead and submit it, because then if you submit it and it's wrong, then you have to submit a ticket to us to have it corrected. So, okay,
Hey,
so not represented. Yeah.
Just as a reminder, that coverage effective date, this is the only screen that you'll see that. So you want to confirm all this because when you go back in to manage this employee, you will not see that coverage effective date. It'll either be on their newly eligible wizard or you won't see it at all. So you want to confirm all this information, like Debbie said, before you hit that submit button.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Okay, so this employee also is eligible for LTD. And again, this should be, if it, just check it. You'll know if you need to put anything in here based on the type of employer that you are. And then here's that hire date. So I didn't copy. Remember I went in and I got this employee social security number, but I didn't look at their hire date. This is really an agency decision. What do you want here? Do you want to keep their hire date in here? You have to have something, right? Because there's an asterisk. Do you want it to be their original hire date? They're not really being rehired, but this is all up to you what you put here. So I know that this employee, I hired them in the system on this date. So I will leave it the agency's original hire date. But the really important thing there is for you to know it doesn't matter. This data right here does not drive coverage, effective dates, premiums, nothing. The hire date information for you guys, for all employers really, is going to be in your own payroll or HR system, right? So this does not drive benefits. Okay, and then if we, the address again, you wouldn't you could change this in your own system. And, we already talked about that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on same mailing address and go ahead and submit. Okay. And it's saying that they were added successfully. So now I'm going to manage her. And if you come down on her dashboard, it's going to show that she has a newly eligible wizard as well, right? Because she had that break in coverage. So she too can go in and make new plan elections. She can add whoever is eligible that she'd like. And she has this 31-day window to go ahead and do that. So does anybody have any questions on that part of the application? Yeah, these are actually pretty straightforward, kind of nice how they work.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so if there aren't any questions on that, I will go ahead and do work on a transfer for you. Just a second. I got to kind of figure out where I'm at here. Okay, so kind of the situation we'll have is I am going to take a Department of Ecology employee. I am going to do a transfer of this employee because they're going to be going to work for the healthcare authority. So just keep in mind, this is a state agency to state agency, which means full benefits PEBB covered employer to another full benefits PEBB covered employer. Okay. I do see a message here. What if a faculty member that is re-eligible with no new plan choice? Does their information stay the same? Larry, do you know what she's trying to say?
Yeah, if they're re-eligible, Deb, and there's no break in coverage, then yes, their benefits stay the same. They just continue on uninterrupted coverage.
Okay, I wasn't sure, right? Because that wouldn't change the eligibility then, right? The eligibility would remain the same.
Right.
This one's a break though, Rob.
Oh, it is a break?
That's what I'm trying to understand what she's trying to ask. That's why
this is a break. So the previous one she had before there was break, will that same plan be there, or did she have to select plans again? Because she had a month break?
If she has a break in coverage, she would be allowed, again, you would use that newly eligible wizard and just select new plans.
Right. Anytime there's a break. True, Larry?
Yeah, if there's a break, you have to not start over like life and LTD, but as far as medical, dental, who you're adding, who you're not adding.
Right. And that wizard is where it would come into play, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question, because anytime there's a break, the system's going to know based on dates of eligibility whether that wizard should show up or not. Okay. So let me think about, where was I? Oh, okay. So I was taking an employee from Department of Ecology to HCA. Okay. So that employee is going to be named Carol Brady. So I'm going to go in there as the employer who is going to transfer this employee out, right? So I'm going to go into manage subscribers. I'm going to look up this employee, go ahead and manage her. And the first thing that I want to do is just this is not stuff you have to know or do, right? I just kind of want to walk you through some kind of like being able to put the story together. And as a BA on the transfer outside, and then a different BA on the transfer inside, you probably wouldn't be able to see this as well, but I just kind of want you to see how it works. So the first thing that I would do as a BA is say, okay, I know this person's transferring out. I want to see what their current coverage is, right? So, because I want to show you if it works right or not. And this would be my only way to know, I think, if I click on the statement of insurance. Okay. So right here, you can see that this employee has herself and a child enrolled. And here are their effective dates, right? January 1 of 2022 for medical and dental. They're in Uniform Classic, Uniform Dental, and here's all their coverages that they have for employee paid LTD. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of there. That's mostly just like an FYI for you. Okay, so we're going to go to her eligibility tab, and she's a transfer. So we're going to go ahead down here in this box, and we're going to say, yep, she's a transfer. And she is going to be transferring on 5/3 today. 05/03/2023. Now, remember, that is the last day that she's working for Department of Ecology. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click Submit Changes, and then click that submit changes again until you see that green. Yes, you have successfully updated this subscriber. So now this is interesting. There's this little, as soon as you do that, this little cancel transfer. So if I put the wrong date, I could cancel that. But if you cancel it, just know that you also have to submit that so that it saves it, right? Don't just try to cancel it because it won't cancel it unless you save it. So if I go back up to the eligibility tab again, come down here, now it's going to let me change it if I want. So I can go ahead and do it again. I'm going to leave the date the same and I'm going to go ahead and submit. And it's saved this. So this cancel transfer also is out there. Let's say that this employee does not end up transferring for whatever reason. They stay with your agency. So that will stay there until the other agency picks them up as a transfer in, so that, you know, in case you need to cancel it, you can always come back in and cancel it. Doesn't impact their coverage. They have no break. Everything just works like they're still active on your benefits. Okay. So I'm going to leave that though, because I do want that to happen. And now the other thing that I'd like to show is I'm going to come back out here. I'm going to pick that person up again. I'm going to go ahead and search for her again. As you can see, she's still, Department of Ecology still has access to her. And the only reason is because the other agency has not picked her up as a transfer in yet. But as soon as that agency picks Carol Brady up as a transfer in, then Department of Ecology will have no access to this employee any longer. So just kind of, those were some questions that we had from other people. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that. So now I'm going to change hats. I'm going to go over to the Healthcare Authority, and I am going to, whoops, I guess I better go find her social security number. Sorry, just bear with me here. Okay, let's go find her soc. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Okay, so now I'll go back to the Healthcare Authority. And so now I am the BA for the Healthcare Authority, and this is where she's coming as a transfer in, right? So I'm going to go to Manage Subscribers. And again, as the BA, I don't know that, I may not know that this person is a transfer in. You know, I just know that this is a new hire for the Healthcare Authority. So I'm just going to add a new subscriber. And this is what you would do whether you know or you don't know. Always do the add subscriber. Go ahead and give the system her social security number. And I'm going to make her date of eligibility as 5/4. I'm just not going to have a break here. And I'm going to say next and then next. So it's basically saying, hey, this is a transfer record. So the other agency has gone ahead and set them up as a transfer. So you can go ahead and pick them up as a transfer. And if this is the person that you want, then all you have to do is claim them. So on a transfer, it is going to, again, if you state agencies and higher ed, you guys use your own systems to put data in that feeds over. So this will be updated. It should be, because you always do that for your new employees. If it's not, then make sure, right? I just tell everybody again, please make sure that this page is accurate and make any changes that you need to. So, and then consistently, like Larry has said, anything that's feeding over that, you know, make sure it's always done in your system first, okay? Okay, so this all looks good. The system already recognizes as a transfer that it's a newly eligible. So newly eligible in this situation means newly eligible for the Healthcare Authority. Not really newly eligible because they aren't losing their coverage, right? But that's kind of how the system's designed. It's just newly eligible for the agency they're going to work for. Date of eligibility is 5/4, right? Based on the previous screen. So it knows that the coverage effective date is 6/1. So there is going to be no break because the other employer said 5/3. So that means they're carrying PEBB covered insurance for the employee through the end of May 31st. And then the Healthcare Authority is going to pick up PEBB coverage for this employee beginning 6/1. So no break in coverage. Okay, again, no, they're not represented. Yes, eligible for LTD. Now, again, this should be what you need it to be, but I'm going to go ahead and say this employee came over because they got a significant pay raise. And again, hire date, this one has the other information that came over from the other employer. So this could be updated to whatever you need it to be. And in this instance, it would be 5/4/2023, right? That's when they're coming to work for you. And then this would not be editable for you, hopefully, in the live environment if you have feed data. If you don't, and you're in our audience today and you're somebody who doesn't have that, then you should be able to do that. So we'll go ahead and click same mailing address and go ahead and submit. Okay, so I would like to pull up Carol Brady now to just show you a few things. So we'll go here first and we'll manage her. And as you can see, no transfer wizard, right? No newly eligible, no transfer. That's because she shouldn't have any ability to make new elections. So that would be your first clue that something would be wrong if you had a wizard up there that allowed this person to make new elections. So that's like a big deal. We don't want that to be showing up. Under the current coverage tab, though, I did want to pull this up so you could kind of see that all this stuff does come over. I don't know why it's doing that. My system's working kind of odd today. Okay, so you can see that Carol Brady is now at the Healthcare Authority. She still has that child enrolled in herself, and her medical and dental still remains effective as of January 1, 2022. Same medical, same dental, and then same other enrollments that they had. So that's kind of what I just wanted to show you is how that works, right? Okay. The interesting thing, like Rob said, for this employee now that's transferred into the Healthcare Authority, it's a little bit maybe confusing for people to look at this and say, oh, well, their date of eligibility is 5/4. That he was right, that coverage effective date dropped off, right? So this employee has not just had PEBB coverage since 6/1. The only way at this time to be able to tell that would be through this right here, that statement of insurance I showed you, or you could also go to the history tile and we could look up this employee. We could pull her up and then we could look at her eligibility, right? So here's a little bit of how to read this. So January 1, 2022, she came to work for a Department of Ecology, but her coverage ended with Ecology 5/31. And it shows in there twice, and I can't tell you why that is, but okay. So then 3 times, Healthcare Authority picks this person up on 6/1. So here's where you can kind of tell like, oh, this person has had continuous coverage since January 1 of 2022. So there's a couple of ways to kind of read the story, which for me, I feel like that was kind of helpful. I'm going to go back here now to this same employee again, because here's another thing I want to show you right here where it says Department of Ecology. Well, this is Healthcare Authority, right? I'm the BA for the Healthcare Authority. Why in all hooties is this employee showing up as a Department of Ecology as their employer? I thought I changed that. You did, but here's what happens. All this means in our benefit system is this employer is the one responsible for this employee's PEBB coverage at this time. And because her PEBB coverage with Ecology is covered until 5/31, this will not change to the Healthcare Authority until 6/1. So when we get into the system on 6/1, this will no longer say Department of Ecology, it will say Healthcare Authority. So I just like to kind of clarify that in case people are like, what is this? It didn't work right. It is working right. And how we knew that too is up here under the history tab. So anybody, did I miss anything, Larry, Rob, on that?
No, you think you covered it all. I would just say that just make sure that it's an official transfer because there's certain policies and rules that govern, transfer that they need to be eligible at the new agency and at your agency. So if they're not eligible at the new agency, then you probably want to term them. But if they are eligible at the new agency, then yes, please enter them as a transfer. It's pretty simple. You just
and like
as a new
somebody
subscriber.
asked earlier. Yeah. So like somebody asked earlier, like if you do that add new subscriber and it says, this isn't active, you can't do this because nobody's done the transfer yet. That would be another clue, right? So you don't know they're a transfer, but when you go out there and you put their social and it says, hey, this person's not available to be enrolled. Either, that's a dual enrollment situation, right? Or it's like, you got to find out what's going on. So you can either, they'll tell you who the employer is and they will that's when you can go into that list under the reports. And one of the reports is a statewide benefit administrator contact list. When you run that and then you look for the agency's BA there, it will have their email and you can reach out to them. You can also work through the healthcare authority to have us help you as well.
And that BA contact list, Deb, is pulled from the managed access. So that's currently updated all the time because, you know, BAs need to know who has access, who doesn't. So the only thing we do have in there is the email address. So you'll get the most current email address of all those BAs within that agency there.
Thanks, Rob. And a lot of people have asked, like, well, can we get under the org profile? There are these contacts, right, that we've added. These are not going to be on that list. This is an organizational contact. The other one is the manage access as the BA, right? That report is going to, like Rob just said, it's going to include these BAs right here. It's not going to include the contact people. I can't think of anything else that I've missed. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I am not seeing any questions in the queue.
Okay. And just know that the, like Rob said, the video for the transfer has been posted again today. And we did not cover the transfers for like full benefits employer, PEBB covered employer to a medical only, or a medical only to a full benefits, right? Or somebody also who has dependents. And we are working on videos for those because there's more detail to those. And today we just kind of wanted to get you exposed to just the general transfers. And as you're testing this or playing with it, and if you run into any problems, we really do hope that you will reach out to us and send us any information, because I know you haven't had a chance to test it really because the video was not out there. Oh, and I guess it might be hard too, right, Lair and Rob, because if you're transferring somebody, I guess you can't tell on the other side because you don't have what I have. You don't have this. You don't have all these employers to transfer between. Yeah, I guess that's not going to help. You're not going to be able to probably be able to see how the other side, like even get a transfer in, I guess, at this point. But at least now you know how to do it when the system, you know, when you're in there doing that.
So I don't see any questions, Deb. We are 40 days out from launch date on June 12th. So again, continue to get familiarized with the navigation of Benefits 24/7 as you continue to use it a lot. It'll seem much easier and you'll be able to understand each of the tiles and what you need to do as a process. We do have one question just came in. Employers with multiple sub-agencies can transfer between sub-agencies, though, correct?
Larry, so I see the sub-agencies, and I know Jean's at Department of Corrections. So I see the sub-agencies as like, they look like their own employer, like there's a whole bunch of them, right? So that's considered like an employer, a different employer, each one of them, right?
Yes, so you will able to transfer
so Jean, yes.
sub-agencies.
Yeah, yep. Jean, and hopefully, Jean, I don't know how many accesses you or your staff have if they only have one, but I think you might have more than one. So you could be testing it to see, you know, how it's working for you. And you also could give some access to other people if you have more than one.
That way they can, you know, enroll somebody on one sub-agency and then pick them up on another sub-agency to see how it works.
Yeah, they just pretty much just sit out there until somebody's ready to claim their account.
So it looks like, I know that Jean, you were working with us to get those sub-agency names. I did share that with our team over here, like, and you know, how like when an employee comes into it, right, and they want to see their tile, like let's say this person, Rob J, I'm just going to show this. So you come in here and it's saying, here's your employer, right? Here's your dashboard and it's welcoming the employee. Well, if we don't have the right employer name right there, it could be confusing to your employees. So that's kind of what she's talking about. So if anybody's seen anything like that, that when they get down to their subscriber tile or even up here, you know, when you've signed in as a BA and your employer name is not showing up correctly, that's what it's going to look like for your employees too. So we want to make sure that that's correct and make sure you work with us to let us know if that It's not the right title. So especially these larger employers, I don't know when they make changes or anything, but it's really important that your employees, especially for your employees, that they see the correct employer when it comes up. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, well, it looks like we're going to be able to give quite a bit of time back to everybody. Thank you, everyone, and we appreciate you continuing to, watch the videos as they become available and show up and ask questions and let us demonstrate for everybody. And again, we have more, you guys? Or is this it for now? Rob, Larry?
That's it for now, but they're talking about putting more training stuff available out there, so we're working on it.
Yeah, that, and I did ask the question this morning, so I don't mind sharing this with the audience, that I did ask what's the next steps, right? And there are lots of things that we're considering. And I don't want to go into all the details of that because it hasn't been decided, but we are definitely trying to develop like what's next, because this is the last bit of the videos, and I know that they've heard your concerns and they are looking at different ways to provide information to everybody, not maybe just the same way we have been doing it. So stay tuned. I think it's going to be better, and just like it's getting easier to work in the system. And I would like to say that even though it's been frustrating at times, I do see a lot of feedback that people think the system's going to be great. They are getting a little more understanding of the fact that, we're trying to like get information out there as much as we can. And that once we kind of all get through the newness of it and the change, we really do think it's going to be a great system. And we're starting to hear that too. So thank you for that. Yes, Jean saying that she would like a all-day session to come and review the entire system with HCA. And I don't know where we're at on that, but Jean, I do know that the options being looked at, that's one of them. So can't promise when, what, how, or where, but I know that there are several options on the table. Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and give everybody about an hour and 5 minutes back to your day. And thank you again.
Yeah, thank you everyone for taking time to join us in this webinar. Again, continue to use Benefits 24/7 training environment. Try to use everything that you would normally do in your regular job of adding employees and such. And like Debbie said, we will keep you in touch.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye everyone.